Hello there, peeps. Celine here, and welcome back to Elyasia. We're on chapter 4 this time. And, the pictures that show up in the chapters are actually starting to get very limited. Because at this current time, I'm still trying to get pictures to add to the chapters. It's just very difficult. Since a lot of the characters are not anime based. Okay. 400. Why is it? There it is. 425 years ago. No, Southern lands. Have fun with the AI.
Following a fortnight of heavy rain that had drummed relentlessly against the rooftops and transformed the landscape into a lush, vibrant tableau, a serene day finally emerged, bringing with it a sense of calm and renewal. Kira was nestled in the left garden, surrounded by the sweet scent of blooming flowers and the gentle rustle of leaves, deeply focused on her studies, her brow furrowed in concentration. Beside her, her sister Lyra was likewise engaged in her work, flipping through the pages of her tome with an intensity that mirrored Kira's own. The sisters had successfully persuaded their mages to grant them permission to study together on occasion, a rare privilege that had become increasingly elusive as the years passed and their responsibilities grew. Today, however, marked one of those cherished and infrequent instances where they could share knowledge and companionship, allowing them to reconnect amidst the pressures of their scholarly pursuits. "Sis, how many books have you read from your collection over the years?" Kira asked with genuine curiosity, tightening her hold on her book as she carefully shut it, the cover making a soft thud as it closed. "I've gone through every one of them," Lyra replied, closing her book as well with a slight sigh. "Rain is actively searching for more titles for me to dive into, hoping to expand my reading list and introduce me to new stories and authors that I haven't yet discovered." Kira widened her eyes in astonishment as she looked at her younger sister. Her curiosity piqued. "Oh, really?" she asked, her voice tinged with genuine intrigue. She had always been aware of Lyra's passion for reading, having seen her often curled up in a cozy corner of their home with a book in hand, but she didn't realize just how deep that passion ran. Nor the sheer volume of books Lyra had devoured over the years. The thought of the countless stories and worlds her sister had explored without her knowledge sparked a newfound appreciation in Kira for Lyra's quiet dedication to her literary pursuits. The sister with dark hair agreed, a thoughtful expression crossing her face. "Indeed. Max went through them with me, page by page, discussing each detail and helping me understand the more complex parts that I found challenging to grasp at first." Kira chuckled softly. A light sparkle in her eyes as she continued, "Your dragon seems to find great joy in sharing those quiet reading moments with you. Eagerly flipping through pages and perhaps even offering its own insights, while mine, on the other hand, is quite content to let me wander freely, allowing me the freedom to explore my own interests without any interruptions. That's merely because you take pleasure in bothering him, princess," a voice remarked from behind the sisters, carrying a tone that suggested both amusement and familiarity. As they turned to glance behind them, they were greeted by the sight of their mages, each one standing confidently with their majestic dragons at their sides. The powerful creatures exuding an aura of strength and loyalty that made the moment feel both surreal and exhilarating. "It's not my fault that Q gets angry so easily," Kira said with a soft giggle, her eyes sparkling with mischief as she shrugged off the tension in the air, clearly amused by the situation. She leaned back slightly, her laughter ringing out like a melody, and added, "I mean, it's just the way he is, like a volcano ready to erupt at any moment, yet somehow I find it hard to take him seriously when he gets all worked up. Q emitted a soft growl, a low rumble that seemed to resonate in the stillness of the room, prompting Max to let out a gentle sigh. The sound barely escaping his lips but filled with a sense of resignation. This reaction made June chuckle quietly, her laughter a delicate sound that broke the tension, while Rain, observing the scene unfold before her, simply shook her head, a mix of amusement and exasperation evident in her expression. Hey sis, do you take pleasure in annoying your dragon, finding joy in every little thing that gets under its scales, or is it just a way to pass the time when you're bored? Lyra inquired softly, her curiosity evident in her tone. I can't help myself. Q appears so cute when he's upset, with those furrowed brows and the way he narrows his eyes, and he often pins down June, which allows me to steer clear of any impending chaos. Kira hesitated. A chill running down her spine as she suddenly felt something off in the atmosphere. She looked around, trying to determine the cause of her unease, her instincts cling with an unshakable sense of foreboding. Lyra noticed her sister's behavior and soon experienced a similar sensation, though she couldn't quite place it. The air seemed heavier, charged with an energy that felt out of sync with their surroundings, causing her to glance over her shoulder as if expecting to see something lurking just beyond her line of sight. Kira rose to her feet, her heart racing, and resumed her search of the garden, her eyes darting from flower to flower and shadow to shadow. Where, she whispered to herself, her voice barely audible as the tension in the air thickened around them. The mages exchanged worried looks, their expressions a mix of confusion and concern, uncertain about what could possibly be bothering the princesses. They felt no unusual presence, no shifts in the magical energies they were accustomed to sensing, leaving them to observe the young women with growing unease, unsure of how to provide support in this moment of silent tension. In the meantime, Q, attuned to the subtleties of the environment, picked up on it before anyone else. It's a fox demon, he murmured under his breath, his voice low and tense, the warning hanging in the air like a dark cloud, as he instinctively prepared himself for whatever might come next.
Okay. The whole point of that scene was to add a bonding, was to represent the bonding of the sisters, as well as the introducing a slight seasons to the realm. Because if you haven't noticed, I mentioned the story mentioned it. It's been raining, meaning they're in spring or autumn. Well, they just left winter, so they would be in spring. But then again, I'm jumping time period, or I'm jumping years, so there's actually no telling. However, up here, Kira is hinting that she pisses off her dragon just for him to go pin June to do the sexual stuff. I'm trying to keep it as PG as possible. To do the sexual stuff so she can go free because she's not a heavy reader like her sister. However, I do believe once the next generation takes up the mantle, Lyra will come down to the southern lands just to read. Because I haven't put it in the story that she actually read any of the books in the southern lands. She has read every book in the northern lands, and now Rain is searching for more books for her to read. But as for what type of books to be found in Elyasia, they're mostly books you find in our realm, in the human realm, because the mages will go to the human realm for books. And Alicia's money does transform into what we use in the certain time period that they're getting books in. Because again, the portals to the human realm jump time periods. Because it could be 1920. You go through the portal to Elyasia, and it's whatever modern day it is there. And then once you go back, you may not go back to the time you left. You may go to the future or the past. Unless the portal literally, unless you tell the portal what time you want to go to, year wise, it will not take you to that time period. Karama, Hiei, and Yusuke get around that by going through the demon world. They go through the demon portal, go through the demon realm to go to the human realm. Because in that time period, or the time jump does not happen. And Yahasha and them are not so lucky though. Because Elyasia likes to fuck with demons. But then again, I kind of effed up time periods in the demon realm anyway. But other than that, right here, they're another thing they call Max and Yoon their dragons only because they have no guards. Right now, the dragons are their guards because they have no guards. Kira's fixing to get her first guard, which I still have not put any pictures. Oh yeah, a few chapters won't have pictures, by the way. Anyways, back to the the story.
Flashback many years prior. Human realm. In the back of a sizable, aged structure that served as their orphanage, two young girls were seated side by side on the weathered wooden steps, their laughter mingling with the gentle breeze. They seemed unfazed by their situation, finding joy in one another's company and the small world they had created amidst their surroundings. The caretaker of the facility, a kind-hearted woman with a warm smile, was known for her compassion and understanding, embracing their unique traits and quirks with open arms. She often encouraged their creativity and imagination, allowing them to express themselves freely, which instilled a sense of belonging and happiness in the girls despite the challenges they faced. One afternoon, as the sisters were deeply absorbed in a book in the rear section of the orphanage, Kira abruptly sensed that they were being watched. It felt like someone was keeping an eye on them. She looked around but noticed nothing out of the ordinary. Lyra, the younger sister, glanced over at Kira with a look of concern and asked, "Kira, what's wrong? You seem a bit out of sorts today, like something is bothering you." Kira exhaled gently, her breath barely breaking the silence that surrounded them. "It's nothing, Lyra. I just felt like someone was observing us, a strange sensation creeping over me as if eyes were tracking our every move, lingering in the shadows, waiting for the perfect moment to reveal themselves." Lyra blinked and gazed into the dense, shadowy forest stretching out in front of her. The sounds of rustling leaves and distant birdsong surrounded her, creating a serene backdrop. She turned her head slightly, her curiosity piqued, and noticed a striking silver fox gracefully moving through the underbrush. Its fur shimmered in the dappled sunlight filtering through the trees. "Is that the fox you're talking about?" she asked, her voice laced with intrigue as she pointed towards the elegant creature. Kira blinked and turned her attention to where her sister was looking, spotting the fox as well, its bushy tail flicking gently in the breeze. "How long has it been sitting there, just watching us from the edge of the trees?" "It seems like it has been present for roughly 2 hours, quietly lingering in the background." Kira blinked once more and cast a look at her younger sibling, who seemed completely unfazed by the situation. "You knew he was there the whole time, didn't you?" The sister with dark hair nodded confidently, a hint of a smile playing on her lips, and then returned to the pages of her book, seemingly absorbed in her world of words and stories. Kira let out a deep sigh, the weight of her thoughts evident on her face, but soon enough, a bright smile broke through as a playful idea sparked in her mind. "I think I'll try to pet him," she declared, her excitement bubbling up. "Okay," Lyra replied, her tone encouraging yet cautious. With a mischievous glint in her eye, Kira stuck her tongue out at Lyra in a moment of light-heartedness, her playful spirit shining through as she made her way toward the trees at the edge of the forest. As she stepped into the dappled light filtering through the leaves, she took a moment to compose herself before approaching the fox. Once she finally reached the clearing, she paused and offered the fox a gentle smile, hoping to convey her friendly intentions and draw it closer with her warmth. The silver-coated fox watched the girls for a while, captivated by their presence and the laughter that floated through the air. He stayed motionless, his grey eyes locked onto the blonde girl as she drew nearer, her cheerful demeanor sparking an unfamiliar curiosity within him. Initially surprised by her warm smile, he gradually inched closer, unable to resist the magnetic pull of her joyful energy. Once he reached her side, she raised her left hand and cautiously reached out to pet him, her movements slow and deliberate, as if she were trying to bridge the gap between their worlds. Understanding her gesture, he leaned forward, gently nudging his head against her hand, feeling the soft touch of her fingers against his fur. She blinked at his response, her eyes lighting up with delight, then smiled broadly as she caressed his soft fur, the warmth of the moment wrapping around them like a cozy blanket. "I've completely fallen in love with foxes now," she murmured with a giggle, her voice filled with wonder and excitement, as if she had just discovered a hidden treasure in the wild.
Okay, this whole back flashback, I try to think of how children act, and this is back when they were about 11 ish, before the maid showed up. This is just a random afternoon. They're reading. But the fox, he has actually been watching them grow since day one, or since they left Elyasia as infants. He's been their silent protector through their whole childhood until they got to Elyasia, obviously. Then he stopped watching them. He's also soulmated to, or he's also made it to Kira, but that's not the point. That's a later thing. The reason why he actually let Lyra or let Kira touch him is because he understands her curiosity. Because again, she's a child, and even though he's an older fox demon, he would he would not attack a selfless human that he, or not, they're not humans, but a selfless little girl who uh, who has literally with courage, went up to a fox demon. Even though at the time, the girls don't know it's a fox demon. They just think it's a silver fox. It's at this. It's at a later time they realize, oh, the fox that's been stalking them was a fox demon. They let a fox demon near them as children. Because, yeah, after this instance, he would randomly come visit them, either to lay by them while they read, or he wouldn't play. That's one thing he wouldn't do. He would not play. So Kira's out of luck on that one. But he would still be a calming presence within them, even though it's been a few days. And yeah, when he comes to visit and they're missing, his thoughts would be either they got adopted or they're in Elyasia. So he comes to Elyasia and finds them in Elyasia. Which, yes, he still watches them in Elyasia. However, this is when he actually makes his presence known, because the Black Dragon, however, knows of him. Maybe. Probably. He at least knows it's a fox demon. But still. Okay. On to the next section.
End of flashback. Kira looked around thoughtfully, taking in the details of the surroundings as she felt the weight of the moment. Lyra, considering you noticed him earlier, do you believe you can find him again, using your keen observation skills to track his movements and spot any signs that might lead us to him once more? Lyra let out a deep sigh as she rose to her feet, taking a moment to smooth out the fabric of her dress, ensuring it fell just right against her figure. She scanned the thicket of trees surrounding them, her pale blue eyes searching intently for any sign of movement. After a brief moment, her gaze landed on a specific area, and she felt a jolt of recognition as she spotted him. Her eyes locked onto his grey ones, a spark of determination igniting within her. "He's over that way," she stated firmly, pointing directly at him with an assertive gesture, which caused him to flinch slightly as if he hadn't expected to be singled out in that moment. Just as Kira was about to make a move, Q suddenly vanished from her sight, only to reappear moments later, cradling a snarling silver fox in his arms. The creature's sharp teeth glinted menacingly in the light, and its growls filled the air with a palpable tension, as Q expertly held it, seemingly unfazed by its fierce demeanor. "Please don't harm him," Kira pleaded earnestly as she cautiously approached the group of men, her heart racing with concern for the creature. She gently caressed the soft fur on the fox's cheek, her fingers gliding over the delicate strands, which seemed to soothe him. As she did so, she felt the tension in his body begin to ease, prompting him to stop growling and instead lean into her touch, searching for comfort amidst the threatening circumstances. "I never meant to cause him any harm," Q grumbled quietly as he released the fox from his grasp, watching it scamper away into the underbrush before he turned to walk away, muttering discontentedly under his breath. The task of guarding that girl weighed heavily on him, a burden he loathed more with each passing day. He couldn't shake the feeling of being trapped, bound by an obligation that felt increasingly pointless. Until she found her own protectors, he was stuck with this unwelcome duty, forced to keep an eye on someone who seemed to attract trouble like a moth to a flame. The fox straightened up and brushed himself off after being let go, his fur ruffled and slightly dirted from the fall. "Foolish dragon," he murmured under his breath, a hint of irritation lacing his voice as he glanced back at the retreating figure of the creature that had carelessly dropped him. He then blinked in surprise, his amber eyes widening, as the blonde princess knelt down in front of him, her ethereal presence radiating warmth and kindness amidst the chaos of his recent tumble. The sunlight caught the golden strands of her hair, making her look almost otherworldly as she regarded him with a mixture of curiosity and concern. "Are you all right?" she inquired gently, her voice laced with concern as she looked into his eyes, searching for any signs of distress that might reveal the weight he was carrying within. "Hn." He averted his eyes, feeling an unexplainable attraction to her that tugged at his emotions, as if some invisible force was drawing him closer despite his hesitation. Lyra let out a long, heavy sigh as she slowly pushed herself up to her feet, brushing off her clothes as she did so. "Hey sis, I'm heading over to your library to see if I can find something interesting to read or maybe just to enjoy the quiet atmosphere." Kira looked over and gave a nod, her expression light and playful. "Okay, I think Maxie is likely aware of its location," she remarked with a gentle laugh that danced in the air, her voice warm and inviting, drawing the fox's focus back towards her with a sense of curiosity and eagerness. There was a glimmer of mischief in her eyes as she spoke, as if she was sharing a delightful secret that only the two of them could understand. The azure dragon acknowledged with a nod as he and the dark-haired princess made their way through the ornate entrance, the heavy doors creaking softly behind them. Meanwhile, the two mages, their robes billowing gently in the breeze, remained stationed outside, their keen eyes focused intently on the blonde princess, who stood with an air of quiet curiosity beside the mysterious fox, its shimmering fur glinting in the fading sunlight. "I'm Kira," she said as she introduced herself, a warm smile spreading across her face as she extended her hand in greeting, her eyes sparkling with a hint of curiosity and friendliness. The fox looked at her intently, its eyes glimmering with curiosity and intrigue. "The initial princess from the southern territories, renowned for her grace and resilience, stands before me." She gave a nod and smiled warmly, her eyes sparkling with understanding. "Exactly, that's right," she affirmed, her tone reflecting a sense of confidence and agreement. "Akito is my name," the fox said, turning its gaze away, the flicker of its ears betraying a hint of shyness as it spoke, its voice barely above a whisper, as if revealing a secret that weighed heavily on its heart. She fluttered her eyelashes and then let out a light laugh, a gentle flush appearing on her face as she leaned slightly closer. "Akito is such an adorable name," she remarked, her voice filled with warmth and delight, as if the very sound of it brought a smile to her heart.
And that was chapter 4. As for adding content for the this scene, apparently I did mention that the little sister has read the books in the Southern Library. I just never mentioned how much she's read. Uh, let's see what else. Oh, about Akito. Right now, he's acting as if he doesn't know the girls, but obviously he knows them. He just acted like a normal fox. He never acted like a fox demon. At this point, his color's blown. He's a fox demon. So, he never expected to uh be a guard or anything. But this is how he became a guard, basically. The two princesses. Well, actually, every princess will find their guards either through a underlying bond that they don't know about, or they just.
I'll fill you in.
Okay, my husband's computer's doing something.
Oh, I got it. Let go. I got it.
Okay, hold on real quick.
Yeah,
Real quick.
All right, I'm gonna keep it up here.
I apologize for that, but now I'm mad. What was I talking about? Oh yeah, Keto. I also called him a Keto because I happen to like that name. Oh my god. Okay. But I'm just going to end the video. I apologize, peeps. But if you have any questions about any of the chapters, you can ask them in the comment section below. I will answer every question that is posted. Because believe it or not, I do read comments. So you don't have to worry about that. And I do check on my videos on this channel when I'm on my other channel. I at least check this channel once a day. And if I see your comment, I will reply to it. Or I'll give it a thumbs up or a heart. Depending on the content. So I will read every comment. But anyway, peeps, that's it for this video. I don't know if I will do chapter 5 or not. Depends on if I feel like it. I might. Since my husband's going to leave me alone now. But anyways, leave me a like, comment, subscribe if you haven't, like always, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye bye!